r/AskReddit by Redmond Dtes. What has been the most badass thing done by real people in history? Leonid Rogozov had to perform an appendectomy on himself while overwintering in the Antarctic. In a similar vein, Inés Ramirez Perez performed a cesarean section on herself. She wasn't a doctor or a surgeon, she was a rural Mexican woman with no medical training. Ramirez cut herself open, pulled her baby out of her own uterus, passed out, then regained consciousness and bandaged herself. The nearest hospital was 8 hours away, and she'd been in labor for 12, so she was desperate. Both of them survived. Napoleon Bonaparte coming back from Elba, meeting up with the 5th Regiment of Infantry, sent from Paris to kill him. Steps off his horse with no weapon, walks towards the regiment and shouts, "Soldiers, recognize your emperor. If any of you wants to kill me, here I am." The soldiers drop their weapons and send their hats flying, shouting glory to the emperor. This has got to be the most insane natural 20 on a charisma check in history. British pilot in World War I was flying a scouting mission when he was attacked by 7 German planes. On the first pass, his leg was blown off by the German planes, but he managed to move the plane, so his rear gunner could fire on the German fighters. They managed to drive off all 7. The pilot managed to land the plane, despite rapidly losing blood, and insisted that he delivered his reconnaissance report before receiving medical attention. His back gunner had no idea he'd lost his leg until they landed. The pilot won the Victoria Cross for his actions. Edit. The pilot's name was Ferdinand West. He survived the war and lived until 1988. Witold Pilecki. His mission at Auschwitz is one of the most extraordinary acts of bravery in World War II history. In 1940, Pilecki, a member of the Polish resistance, volunteered to infiltrate Auschwitz by allowing himself to be captured during a Nazi roundup in Warsaw. Under the alias Tomasz Serafiski, he endured brutal conditions and unimaginable horrors upon his arrival at the camp. Once inside, Pilecki organized a clandestine resistance network called the Union of Military Organization. He meticulously documented the daily atrocities, including the mass executions and the inhumane living conditions. His reports, smuggled out through couriers, were among the first comprehensive accounts of the Holocaust to reach the Western Allies and the Polish government in exile, providing critical intelligence and calling for action. After nearly 3 years of enduring and documenting the camp's horrors, Pilecki realized that an internal uprising was impossible without external support. In April 1943, he orchestrated a daring escape with 2 fellow inmates. Despite the constant threat of capture, he made his way back to Warsaw, where he continued his resistance activities. Pilecki's detailed reports on Auschwitz were instrumental in informing the world about the genocide occurring within its barbed wire fences, making his mission one of the most significant acts of resistance during the war. Miriam Rodriguez Martinez. Her daughter was kidnapped and murdered by the Mexican cartel. The police didn't lift a finger to help, so she tracked down and arrested 10 cartel members herself. She knew it would result in her death. She did it anyway. "I don't care if they kill me," Rodriguez told a friend, according to the New York Times. "I died the day they killed my daughter. I want to end this. I'm going to take out the people who hurt my daughter, and they can do whatever they want to me." Sadly, her words proved prophetic, as she was murdered by the cartel on the 10th of May 2017, which is Mother's Day in Mexico. Look up Joe Medicine Crow. He was the last war chief of the Crow tribe and the last Plains Indian war chief. During World War II, Joe Medicine Crow completed all 4 tasks required to become a war chief: touching an enemy without killing him, counting coup, taking an enemy's weapon, leading a successful war party, and stealing an enemy's horse. Tank Man, the Chinese protester that stood before a column of tanks. Teddy Roosevelt getting shot and then going up on stage and finishing the speech anyway. It takes more than that to kill a bull moose. Franz Stigler, who upon coming upon a defenseless and battered B-17, not only couldn't bring himself to shoot them down, but escorted the American crew all the way to the English Channel. Along the way he warded off other German fighters and flew close enough to the aircraft that German air wouldn't open fire on it. The crew survived the encounter and Stigler turned around and returned to his base once they left German airspace. Desmond Doss, of Hacksaw Ridge fame. Even before the events in the Battle of Okinawa that the film is based on, where he saved an estimated 75 men, he had been awarded the Bronze Star twice. All while never carrying a weapon or firing a shot. That Finnish sniper that got nicknamed the White Death or something. He had 500 something confirmed kills. He would put snow in his mouth so his breath wouldn't expel heat that could be seen. Leo Major single-handedly liberated an entire town and captured 93 German soldiers. Robert Smalls, a slave who stole a Confederate ship out of Charleston Harbor and turned it over to the Union, who in turn made him a pilot of one of their ships. Total badass. The chef on the Titanic, who spent the whole time helping others off, then as the ship was sinking, drank a ton of wine and survived thanks to the alcohol keeping him warm and stimulating his system. Edit. Didn't expect this to blow up. Here's some context. Charles Jowen was a chief baker, not chef. He knew that he wouldn't be saved, so had a drink of liquor, helped others off the boat, and then returned to his cabin and drank more. Having yielded a seat on a lifeboat, he then threw deck chairs and other objects off the boat, in the hopes that they would act as floats for those in the water. One of the last to enter the water, and also apparently a competent swimmer, he swam in the water for 2.5 hours. He did find a lifeboat in that time, but it was full. He suffered no serious injuries. I always assumed that the alcohol had something to do with his survival, but as pointed out, it actually makes you lose body heat, vasodilation giving the illusion of warmth, so I guess his survival was up to keeping a cool head. John Basilone, World War II legend, who held off an entire platoon with a single machine gun. After multiple failed assassination attempts by the Soviets, Josip Broz Tito sent a letter to Stalin saying, "Stop sending people to kill me. We've already captured 5 of them, one of them with a bomb and another with a rifle. If you don't stop sending killers, I'll send one to Moscow, and I won't have to send a second one." There was no further attempts. Vasily Arkhipov, who was a Soviet naval officer. He was the only one in a 3-man nuclear submarine to stand and revoke the decision of nuclear submarine from launching a nuclear bomb towards a United States ship that could have caused a potential nuclear war. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, the 3 divers who volunteered during the Chernobyl disaster, knowing they would die and potentially saving millions of lives. That's all, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.